I didn't even realize just how much this silent to-do list was actually screaming at me. So I am ready to officially, properly silence it once and for all. Were you silent or were you silenced? Let's go. How's it going? It's Laura, and 2 months ago, 2 months already, I decluttered this entire room. I got it down to what I consider to be the bare bones. Now, I will say, since living with it, I have made some little adjustments here and there. I'll show you those in a bit. But even though it is decluttered, there is still work to be done. The silent to-do list. If you're not familiar with the silent to-do list, it is basically the idea that your stuff is giving you things to do subconsciously. Like a pile of laundry is telling you, fold me, put me away. Shoes on the floor are saying, pick me up. All those things that might not explicitly be on your to-do list, but everywhere you look, you're seeing things that need doing. And it's causing this kind of mental load. It is subconsciously stressing you out. There were so many of them in this room, things that I didn't even realize until I sat down and, paid close attention. So my mission today is to see how many I can tick off. Okay, I've got my list pulled up here. I think some of the decisions I've made about things on this list may surprise you, but for now, I'm not gonna go through these in order. I'm just gonna see where the mood takes me. I will say the one that is about WD-40ing the dresser hinges, I did that immediately after I decluttered that cupboard, so that one can be ticked off. The next one I'm going to tackle is one that I've been putting off for a long time, and that is to test the panic alarms. I've never done this, I've always been afraid to do it, but I do know there is a setting in our home security system that allows you to, let them know that you are just running a test. So I want to figure that out. We're going to do it now. Yeah, security company immediately called me, but it was just one of those automated calls just to make sure that it was in fact me who had initiated a test and everything was fine. So that was actually quick and painless. Next on my list, well, one of the next things on my list was getting a new nice sleep mask. I've got these two here. This one feels all nice, but it's not very blackout, and then this one is more blackout, but it's just not very comfortable to wear. So my idea was to essentially declutter these two and get myself one decent one. But I've changed my mind because in our future house, I want blackout blinds or curtains. So I want some way to be able to black out the room if I do want to have myself a little nappy nap. In the meantime, these are fine, honestly. Look at this light. There's another one on my list that I can knock out pretty quickly, and that is to polish my tarnish necklaces. So I have this silver polishing cloth. I'm sure it'll be fine for white gold as well. I think most of these are white gold. This one's looking filthy, but while I do this, I can tell you about some of the other things on my list. So let me see what else. Oh yes, recycle my old iPad and charger. So that was something that I was going to do, and then I realized that my neighbor was looking for just kind of cheap and cheerful tablet for her son, and I happened to mention to her that I had an old iPad that it wasn't didn't have all the bells and whistles and whatever, but it was perfect for what she needed it for. So she was delighted. So I went ahead and wiped that and gave it to her. So that was really helpful. I was going to say it saves me a trip because I was going to bring it back to the Apple store. This is actually working really well. I was going to bring it back to the Apple store, which is quite a drive away. It's about a 30-minute drive away, but I have to go out that direction anyway for one of the other things on my list. Filthy, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a lot of dirt coming off this. Okay, so I'm not doing it today, but I have noticed that since I decluttered this jewelry box that I have been wearing a lot more jewelry. In fact, I went out for dinner last week with a few friends and I wore, if you remember, see, I'm kind of struggling because I'm like, these are fabulous, but where would I ever wear them? Yeah, I did wear them. Went out for a dinner, like I said, with friends and decided I was going to wear the earrings and got multiple compliments on them, but how's that looking? That looks so much better. This one's looking pretty dingy as well. Buy a new white gold chain. So I may still have to buy one, but since I decluttered my jewelry box, I did actually declutter more jewelry. I went back one day. I just kind of felt a little bit unsettled about it, and I went back one day. I decided to declutter this, but I kept the chain and used it for, if you remember, this tiny little gem thing that I had. And then I also decluttered additionally these little earrings, but I do still have this tiny little L charm, so I will still need a chain for that, I think. And then what else was on the list of, oh yes, get my Swarovski necklace fixed. So that is where I have to drive out to the same place where the Apple store is, and then I have to repot this spider plant. That's the one I'm probably dreading the most, just because it's messy. I might actually also repot my other plant that's sitting beside it. I only found this out recently, but when you buy plants at the store, like just a grocery store, which is generally where I buy all my plants instead of like a proper plant store or nursery, they come, and since I read this, I have actually noticed it comes 3 plants. You're getting 3 plants essentially in one pot. And the reason for that is that they look fuller. So they look more healthy essentially than they might actually be. So yeah, I noticed with that one, it is actually 3 different stems in the one pot. Wow, this is, ugh. The dirt that is coming off this, I don't know if you can see it, the light is so bad I can't see anything, but what was I saying? Oh yes, the plants. I'm worried that I will kill it if I try and separate it, because I'm sure the roots are all tangled up in there. But the spider plant absolutely needs to be repotted. It's getting crazy. The soil is just falling out all over the edge and stuff. That's another one where there is probably multiple pots or multiple plants in the pot, and also it's growing lots of spider babies. But there are multiple spider babies in there, so I will chop all of those out and maybe repot those. But honestly, I'm not sure how many spider plants I want. I really should have done like proper before and afters of those, but there you go. Take my YouTuber badge away from me. Will I buy a new white gold chain? You know what, actually, I think I will add that to my Christmas list, because it's something that somebody else can buy me. I'm sure like my husband, my parents will probably be asking me what they can get me. But yeah, repotting these plants. Really don't want to do it. Oh, getting the necklace fixed. I will take that out. So while I'm out there, even though I don't need to recycle the iPad now, I do have an old laptop and an old phone, an old iPhone downstairs. So while I'm out getting this fixed, I will also bring those, and that's another few tasks I can tick off my list in one go. I don't know how anyone enjoys gardening. I really don't. It's the same with people who enjoy cooking. Like, they find it meditative. I am not one of those people. I just find it filthy, messy, frustrating work with a big cleanup job thereafter. Ugh. But anyway, I ended up repotting the spider plant because I found a bigger pot that I thought it might enjoy a little bit better, because it was pretty root bound in there. So this is a deeper, slightly wider pot, so it's not quite as crazy. And then this one, the philodendron, I tried to separate it, but they're pretty like ensnared together. I don't think there's much I can do there, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. I know if I go messing with it, I will kill it, and I can't kill any more plant babies. I just can't. The spider babies, I got rid of the kind of smaller ones, the things that I didn't think would survive or that were just kind of starting to grow. And then the ones that were a little bit hardier, I put those in just little plastic cups with a little bit of water, see if they will take root. If they do, great. Although honestly, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them if they do. And if they don't, so be it. I might just gift them to other people. But yeah, this was one of those jobs that I wasn't looking forward to, and I can't say that it was one of those that, you know, I was kind of dreading, but then it turned out to be not as bad as I thought, because it was just as bad as I thought it would be. I'm not doing another thing now until I take a break and have some lunch. I'm starving. $75 to repair that necklace, and I spent ages in there. I'm like not sure what the holdup was, but I was literally the only person in there. But she's like spent some time looking it up online. She was trying to get like an item number for it, but then she was telling me, you know, like, oh, you can get one on Poshmark. And I was like, well, this one's kind of sentimental to me, so I'm good with just repairing this one. And then she was like, oh, you're welcome to look around if you'd like. I'm like, lady, it's costing me $75 just to stand here. So I ain't looking around. Gone in now. It took a lot. I was in there for a good solid 20 minutes, if not more. So it's going to take up to 6 weeks, apparently. Then I went to the Apple store. I just wanted to recycle some items if I can, please. Got those 2 things recycled. That was pretty quick, reasonably quick. And now, next on the list and last on the list is something that I think kind of might surprise you. You know, like a few people commented on this, they gave me this advice, and I have decided to take it. But first I have to actually get to the place that I need to go. Something I actually forgot to mention while I was in the mall, I was like strutting along. I was like, I kind of feel a little bit different. I don't know what's, like something going on here. And then I realized I had forgotten to button up my jeans. I had unbuttoned them while I was in the car driving. I forgot to put them back up, so I had to do that very quickly as I was walking along. I don't know how many people had already spotted me at that stage, but anyway, I am tackling the next thing on the list. I've come to the place I need to be. The final task is to build or buy a little free library. A few of you had commented and said, why not just like declutter that goal entirely? Why not just donate them to a little free library that's already in existence? And the reason that I didn't want to do that was because I kind of always liked the idea of little free libraries, and I like the idea of having my own. When the pandemic hit in our neighborhood, a very like close-knit neighborhood, we're in a little cul-de-sac, but we were passing around magazines and jigsaw puzzles and books and things like that, and I just thought it was lovely, and I wanted to keep up that feeling of community and neighborhood spirit. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I was just putting myself under pressure to do it when I don't really need to, and it's going to cost a lot of money. And realistically, those books, some of those books have already been sitting there for quite a while and will probably sit there for another while if I don't do something with them now. I have to admit, I was feeling some resistance to doing this. I kind of was struggling to part with them, and I think the reason is because in my head I had another plan for them. But I have to just be realistic. I am going to gift them to the little free library, and it is a local park, so it's still technically my local area. Lads, I'm bollocksed. I'm running around. I know you probably didn't look like much on this, but I had a million other things to do. I did grocery shop, ran other errands, and I am worn out. I came home, my husband was there. I was like, don't be expecting me to be making dinner tonight. No, so he's up there now making something hopefully delicious. And I got myself a reward donut, as I like to call them, cinnamon twist. Oh, cannot wait to dive into this. And yes, I'm eating this before I eat my dinner because I've been gone for hours and I'm starving and I deserve it. But I'll be back soon with more. There is something to be said for that silent to-do list. So I completed it, and then I also went, and there were just kind of like some scuffs on the walls. So this morning I just went and used a magic eraser, got rid of a few of those. So let's dive into the changes, the little upgrades that I've made since. Cannot believe it has been 2 months. First up then is the nightstand. No major changes in here, but I did use up the nasal spray. Allergies have crippled me this year, and this hand cream is almost done, though honestly I'm going to be replacing that. It's coming into winter, my hands will be like sandpaper over the next few months. And then in this next drawer where all my chargers were, I have made one change in here. The idea was that I would use this shorter cable, it's a USB-C, to charge my iPad, but it's not actually, it won't charge my iPad. So I found this charger downstairs and I popped that in there, and that's the only difference in there. But otherwise this whole setup is working out really well for me. Pretty much no changes in here except for, like I showed you, I got rid of the 2 extra little things, the earrings and the little necklace charm, and I polished up my necklaces, so they are looking much better. I was also able to move the lighter down to the kitchen because I used up the candle that was on top of the dresser, so both of those are also gone. There are no changes in this bottom drawer where my husband's stuff was, and then in here is just where I was keeping my books, and I have been making a massive effort to read, so I have returned a lot of those library books. So yeah, slowly but surely I'm working my way through these. This space is still looking great. Really like it. I can come and sit here then. I just put whatever book I'm reading, my drink, snacks, all that sort of stuff, my phone. It's nice to have a clear space to actually do that when I do want to sit down and read. And then my husband's side, this, I mean, okay, it does stay relatively clear, but pretty much every day there will be at least a pair of socks or slippers or something on the ground, or he might leave a drink up here, and this charging cable does kind of end up falling out on the floor. But honestly, it takes seconds just to spruce that up a little bit. So yeah, I'm not really worried about that. And then you already know that I repotted I didn't actually end up repotting this. I took it out to see if I could separate them. I couldn't, so I just popped that straight back in. But then this went in a much bigger pot, so it's not like falling down over the doors and stuff anymore. And then this guy, I moved this guy. So this is the Lord of the Rings lamp that my husband got me. It was up here, I moved it down here. I was just afraid that I would knock it off here and it would fall and smash. So I've moved it down here. So at nighttime before I go to bed, I light it, just flick the little switch and it lights up. It's battery operated. The only thing I found is that the battery, I've had to change it since. So now I've had this for quite a while, but I'm not sure how long the batteries last. If it's a case that I'm going to have to change the batteries every few weeks, I may have to nix this whole idea. I really don't want to be doing that. But for now, it's totally fine. There's a new battery in there. It's going well. It saves me from like bashing my hips or stubbing a toe if I get up in the night for a bathroom break. So far so good, but we will see. Future of this to be determined. Listen, did I enjoy the process of going through all of the decluttering, all of the silent to-do list? No, but were the results worth it? Absolutely. The thing with decluttering and minimalism, like your house is never going to be tidy and organized 100% of the time because you live there. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Does it look magazine worthy all the time? Absolutely not. You know, I still leave a book or two lying around. My husband still leaves his socks lying around, like I said. But it is really easy to get it back to looking really good, and that is what I'm aiming for. It's that sense of ease in my home. The room is pretty much perfect for our needs right now. It has everything we want. I have put some like extra care and consideration and thought and intention into it so that it functions perfectly for us. Oh, the books, I wanted to come back to that. So the books that I donated to the little free library, I went back the next day and some of them had gone, and I was actually like, it was heartwarming. I really enjoyed that because I realized that the reason I was struggling to let go of them was because The little free library that I wanted to build was kind of like a dream of mine, and it was letting go of that, like it was letting go of a dream. But the more I thought about it, it just wasn't a dream that was really important to me. It was adding more pressure to me than I really needed. And once I saw that someone had taken the books from the little free library, someone else is hopefully enjoying them, that made me feel really good. I mean, the whole idea was that I could share books with other people. So yeah, really, I have achieved that goal. Just out here creating more bookworms by the day. All in all, I would say this was a roaring success. I was not expecting to get rid of as much stuff as I did. I was not expecting the silent to-do list to make as much of a difference as it did. But it all worked out wonderfully. I genuinely feel that right now, this room is the best that it could possibly be. Sadly though, it is just one room in a house of many rooms, so there's still much more to do. Next on the list, the next video you're going to see, unless something drastic happens, is the master bathroom. I think that's going to be a relatively easy one, but you know yourself. Famous last words. I guess you'll just have to tune in next week to see how that goes. If you have missed any of this series, any of the bedroom declutter, or you just want to catch up, you want to re-watch, I'll leave them right here for you. And until next time, until the bathroom, go around, Mina Mahagweb. August Becky May Ship Shikalua. Slán!